I just had to come out and make this short video real quick because I came across this article this morning, and this is just really starting to piss me off to no end. This was from this morning at 8 o'clock, April 29, 2021, by David, Kyle, and Matt. Three tards who somehow have a job with Marketwatch. And I guess we're going to find out right now why they do. But here are opinions. Should you buy AMC stock? These analysts say not at any price. Not at any price. Okay. Let's see what their reasons are. So it's talking about AMC here. It's not worth owning at any price, barring a drastic change to its business model. Okay. I know almost all of us have looked at the business model and the numbers. They're pretty solid for coming out of a pandemic where they were closed for almost a whole year. So let's start with that, okay? They have actually pretty good fundamentals, and they have enough cash flow to keep them going until next year. So here's where it really gets silly. Making matters worse, the company AMC continues to issue new shares like their recent 43 million share sale, so equity investors' claims on any future profits are further diluted. Not saying anything about they just canceled the 500 million shares that they were going to try to get voted through, right? That has no effect on the price at all. Fundamentals were bad before COVID-19 pandemic. I'm not even going to read this because I know they weren't, and the stock was up almost near $30 before the pandemic. So let's shut up with that nonsense too. Pandemic headwinds persist. Now, I don't know if anyone's been watching the news, but from what everyone's saying, and especially from Biden's speech last night, you would think that we are almost out of this thing. Like, he's talking about 200 million shots have been given out, 80% of the population. It's open now to anyone, any age. And we are what? It's April, the end of April right now. So basically, the federal government is telling us we're about to come out of it. And the market would also tell you that, by the way, that it's reacting to the speech last night. Okay? But let's see what these morons are saying. The shift from movie theaters to streaming could be permanent. It's just absolutely nonsensical. Like, they're just not even taking into account that they just broke box office records with Godzilla vs. Kong and just ripped like a $50 million weekend between, two movies that aren't really that huge. And that was just in box office sales in North America. I'm sorry, in just the United States. So that's not counting popcorn, drinks, or anywhere else on the planet. They brought in 50 million over a weekend. Like, where is the sense behind these statements that they're making? They're just nonsensical. Now the consumer's got a taste of new movie releases at home. There may be no return to the old model, even though we've seen clearly that's not true in the last 2 months since the theaters have opened back up again. In a survey conducted in May 2020, 70%, this is when the pandemic is booming in May of 2020, 70% of respondents indicated they would rather watch new movies at home even if the theaters were open. Clearly they were lying. They were lying, or they only interviewed 5 people over 65 who were deathly afraid of getting ill. Accordingly, Disney began sending movies originally intended for theatrical release directly to its streaming service in mid-2020. Similarly, AT&T's Warner Brothers announced in December 2020 that it would launch every 2021 movie on HBO Max at the same time as theaters. What they don't tell you is that they also came out with an announcement this year, Warner Brothers, saying starting in 2022, January, we will not be doing that. We're releasing them strictly to the movie theaters. So where is the logic behind just telling you? I mean, it's just so clear that these guys are so full of shit. However, poor fundamentals and structural headwinds didn't stop AMC's entertainment stock from soaring during the meme stock frenzy. That's another thing. I'm so sick of it being called a meme stock frenzy. There are no logistics or points to this thing. This is just very simply a short squeeze. Like, that's it. Like, the fundamentals and all that are great. And listen, I've said in videos before, I totally believe this company is going to be worth at least 2 times the money by the end of this year. I think there's enough movies that are coming down the pipeline that literally are going to, they might break box office numbers, all time. Possibly, depending on how good they are. But like, it's been 10 years since we've had a Matrix. And the first Matrix and actually the whole trilogy did amazing, okay? I think people are no one's going to want to watch Matrix in their living room, or Top Gun in their living room, or Dune in their living room. That's just not going to happen. People just aren't, that's not how Americans act. We go to the movies. It's just as simple as that. That's why AMC's been around 100 years. And like they've said, I mean, we've gone through so many different entertainment options that have come and gone. And what's been solid throughout it all? AMC theaters. Like, it's just fact. It's not even debatable. It's really just not even debatable at this point. I'm tired of bringing up the notion that that's it. Stick a fork in them. I just won't. I won't entertain the thought anymore. Crazy at $20 explained. It implies market share rises from 13 to 54%. Our reverse discounted cash flow model shows that to justify a $20 share price, which we're not right now, we're at just around $10. And then they go into all this shit that they would have to do in order to do that. In this scenario, AMC Entertainment earns nearly $27 billion in revenue in 2030, which is nearly 5 times more than its previous record revenue of $5.5 billion in 2019 and around 220% of 2020 global box office revenue. And it's showing here the implied share price going up. Still crazy at 10. In order for it to be worth 10, they'd have to immediately improve its profit margin to 14%, its all-time high in 2013, and grow revenue by 32% compounded annually for the next decade, which is well above projected box office revenue of 21% through 2025 revenue. These are their 2 points. Neglecting to talk anything about the revenues they've already brought in this year so far, which have broken records, and what they're going to bring in the next 7 months. And let's not also forget that theater chains have closed down, and AMC is now going to, they are going to take over all of those theaters. They're going to encompass all of those customers into AMC. So if you were going, to a different theater before that's not near your house anymore, you're going to have to drive to an AMC. The stock is not worth $1. This has really pissed me off. Given that the performance required to justify a $10 share price is ridiculous, we dig deeper to see if the stock is worth buying at any price. The answer is no. Given $9.8 billion in total debt, $44 million in underfunded pensions, $40 million in net deferred tax liabilities, and $27 million in minority interest, it is unlikely that the company will ever make enough money to satisfy stakeholders who have had higher claims on the firm's cash flows. In other words, here it is. Here's the bombshell. In other words, we do not think equity investors will ever see $1 of economic earnings. Like, they don't even want to talk about how 2 months ago the share was at $2. And we got it up to 20 and 14 respectively. AMC is selling stock to exploit gambling investors. This is probably somehow encompassing the short squeeze, but maybe it's not, though. 43 million shares. Given the stock's drop of more than 5% on Wednesday in a flat market, equity investors appear to be catching on that the company is cashing in on their gullibility by selling them shares at elevated prices. Okay. Sure, raising cash staves off bankruptcy, but the delay only helps equity investors if the company can generate profits large enough to pay off debt holders and other stakeholders with senior claims. Even so, the likelihood of the company ever generating the future cash flows required to justify the current valuation is very, very low. Buyer beware. Look, guys, I can't tell you what the motivation behind this article is. I don't know why these guys are shitting all over the AMC. But I can tell you this. Right now, at this point in the game, we are very simply in a holding pattern. Like, literally and figuratively speaking, we are holding the stock, but we're also in a holding pattern like as a plane would be waiting to land at an airport, okay? The runway's all backed up. There's all kinds of fluttery going on. And we're waiting for things to clear out so that we can actually initiate our landing and make our descent down to the runway. That's what we're waiting for right now. And as much technical and numbers these guys want to throw at us, it comes down to a very basic principle at the end. We are in this as a play on a short squeeze. Very basic. That's it. Okay? You can do all the technical analysis you want, and I've done the technical analysis for holding onto the stock long term in case for some miraculous reason they get out of this, they slip their way out of this. I think we'll still be okay. And remember, this is not financial advice. I'm an entertainment guy. But I do know that right now, this is just a play on a short squeeze, and we are in a holding pattern waiting to land. And nothing these guys say is going to change my mind on that, no matter how many articles they put out day after day after day telling me that the stock's worth a penny, a dollar, or nothing. Now it's apparently worth nothing. So, you can't, even the stale popcorn from last night has zero value to it right now, apparently. But that's all I got for today, guys. Just, don't freak out. We're good. Just hang in there. When it happens and it pops off, it's going to be epic. So I just hope everyone stays true to the cause. I'm not going to ask you guys to subscribe when I'm making a crappy video like this last minute and don't put any effort into it. But if you did enjoy it, if you could hit the like button for me, that would be great. And I'll come back with some better stuff when I have more time. But I just wanted to float that out there in case any apes are getting scared. I don't want them to worry about it. All right, have a good one, guys.